Order. The Monday, January 23rd meeting at 2012. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilman Member Stipp.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for bringing us together tonight. We ask that you place your hand on this council, that we may do your work here. We ask that you be with our council members who are not here tonight, Mrs. Campbell. We ask that you be part of her healing process. Please be with everyone who is serving us tonight, both here in Goodyear, the state of Arizona, the United States of America, and around the world. We ask that you be with them and their families in this time of uncertainty. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill. I need a motion to excuse Councilman Campbell. Is there a motion and a second? Second. I believe that we had Councilman Stiff, a motion from Councilman Stiff, and a second from Councilman Gelzer. All in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll go on to communication, and Parish Spies will introduce Deborah Olson, who will give an update on the Southwest Family Advocacy Center.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just before the holidays, you requested an update on the Southwest Family Advocacy Center, and tonight we have the Executive Director, Deborah Olson, who's been the Executive Director now for the past couple of years, to provide you an update and answer any questions.
Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, council members, I'm Deborah Olson. I am the Director at the Southwest Family Advocacy Center, and it's my pleasure this evening to provide an update on the center. The center is located at 140 North Litchfield in Goodyear and has been at this location since May of 2008. Our current lease actually is going to be up this year at the end of September, and we're going to be relocating to a building site that's just north of McDowell Road on Pebble Creek Parkway. This location will allow us to accomplish two things. The first one is it will give us the opportunity to greatly reduce our lease rent. And second, will give us more space and room for future expansion. Okay. The center is a multidisciplinary facility that is dedicated to reducing the trauma that's experienced by victims of abuse. And this is accomplished by providing all the agencies and all the services that are necessary for the investigation under one roof. Prior to the advent of advocacy centers, victims were often shuffled from one agency to another and often had to tell their story multiple times, thus experiencing the re-traumatization of the event. The fragmented services also didn't allow for agencies to be able to collaborate in the investigation process. Therefore, with advocacy centers, everything's under one roof, all the agencies are there, collaboration increases, and it's just a better way to treat the victim through the investigative process. The Advocacy Center opened in May of 2008. It's a joint effort that's funded and administered by 3 municipalities, the cities of Avondale and Goodyear, and the town of Buckeye. The police chief from each of the 3 partner municipalities, along with myself, serves on the steering committee for the center. There are many benefits to advocacy centers, including the child-friendly settings. Additionally, studies have shown that centers cost communities approximately 70% less than the fragmented services of investigating, prosecuting, and treating abuse. The staff at the center includes myself, an administrative assistant. We have staff that comes from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. They help with the prosecution. We have victim advocates, one from Avondale and one from Goodyear. And then we also have our detectives from Avondale, Buckeye, and Goodyear. We have a Child Protective Services unit. This unit consists of a supervisor, 7 child specialists, and 2 CPS case aides. We have a forensic interviewer, as well as mental health therapists. So we have 2 therapists from Child Help. They work with the children who are under 18, up to the age of 18. And then we have 3 therapists from a New Leaf, and they work with the older teenagers and also the adults. Our medical staff is an on-call staff from Phoenix Children's Hospital. They provide the forensic medical exams on the children who are under the age of 15, and Scottsdale Healthcare provides the forensic medical exams for those who are 15 and older. Again, they are on call, but they respond within 30 minutes. They're at our location. And then lastly, we have our volunteers and our pet therapy teams. Those volunteers and the pet therapy teams assist with the children in the playroom, just in helping them to be more comfortable in that surrounding. The services that we provide include forensic interviews, the forensic medical exam, counseling services, both crisis counseling and then also long-term treatment, victim advocacy, law enforcement investigation, and then the CPS investigation. Since opening in May of 2008, we have investigated just over 1,100 cases and provided services to just over 1,400 victims. As far as age range of our victims, 33% of our victims are children under the age of 6, and 39% are children between the ages of 6 and 12. Our forensic medical exams, we've conducted 115, just over 1,400 forensic interviews, and we provide an average of 60 sessions, counseling sessions per week. Child abuse, both physical and sexual, is an uncomfortable topic that a lot of people tend to avoid. It draws attention to how vulnerable we are as parents and also as communities. But it is a very real concern, as 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys is sexually abused before the age of 18. 30 to 40% of the victims are abused by a family member, and another 50% are abused by someone that is outside of the family, but someone that they know and that they trust. And then finally, this is our wall of hope. On it, we have a quote from Winnie the Pooh that says, "You are stronger than you seem, braver than you believe, and smarter than you think." And when the children visit the center, they take a fabric decal, they trace their hand, cut it out, and put it on this wall. And they do that really to let the next child who walks through our doors know that they are not alone. So I do want to thank you for your commitment and your support to the Advocacy Center, to all of those children and victims who are abused, and also for the opportunity to provide this update tonight. So if you do have time, I would love to answer questions that you may have.
It's very well done, and it is an important agency for us, and we thank you for all your contributions. I know, Council, there's someone here that might want to give a comment tonight on this. Councilman Pizzillo?
No, I just want to say keep up the good work. I know it's a needed service in the community. I really appreciate the efforts.
Thank you.
Councilman Loretano?
This has always been an issue that's near and dear to my heart, and thank you for all the lives you change and all the lives you save. If there's anything we can do as you move, let us know.
Okay, so you can pack boxes?
I will pack boxes. I will.
We're all volunteering.
Okay.
This is a great council. They like to do things like that.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, thank you so much for coming this evening and presenting this to us. We
Sure,
appreciate
and
it.
you're all welcome to come and tour the center.
You know, I think
before
that's a
we-
good idea. I don't know, we have new council members, and I'm not sure they've had the opportunity,
No,
so
I've never been in it, so.
I'd like to put that to staff, that we do a tour, because we do have some new council members.
We will certainly get that
Great,
scheduled.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, thank you.
Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council on a non-agenda item. Are there any cards?
Not for a non-agenda item.
All right. Thank you. Let's go on to the consent agenda. I'd like to ask the city clerk to read the consent agenda items A through F by title only, please.
A, approve draft minutes of a regular meeting held on January 9th, 2012. Item B, approve a request from Amy Nations representing Caballero Grill 1, LLC, for a new Series 12 liquor license number 120-78955 for Caballero Grill located at 1800 North Litchfield Road. Item C, approve a request from John Fournier for a permanent extension of premises patio permit for Moose Lodge number 2078, liquor license number 140700001, located at 1572 South Cotton Lane. Item D, accept the dedication of a right-of-way and a public utility easement by Portfolio Codco Goodyear LLC, an Arizona limited liability company, for a portion of the north side of Harrison Street, approximately 1/2 mile west of 175th Avenue. Item E, send a no recommendation to Department of Liquor License and Control for the request from Naveen Ali, representing Navuna Corporation, for a new Series 12 liquor license, number 1207892, for Gus's New York Pizza and Bar, located at 13824 West McDowell Road, Suite A100. Item F, ratify the contract with Cutler Repaving, Inc. for completed construction services.
Thank you. Let me get my page here. Does anyone from the public wish to remove an item off the consent agenda? All right. Does anyone on the council wish to remove an item off the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I have a question on B, and I would like to remove item E, which is the Gus's New York Pizza Bar liquor license. I would like to talk about that one
Okay.
individually.
All right. So should we start? Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, regretfully, I've got some new council questions on, and these are just questions on C, Charlie, and F, Frank.
Okay. So could we just take a look at the questions before we make the motion and take care of those? All right, and then we'll see which ones we actually have to pull. So Councilman Gelser, you started first, so you had a question on...
This is probably for the city clerk. I've eaten at Caballero's Grill several times now, and I know they're serving liquor. And the question I have is, do they get a temporary license? Thank you. Okay, answered my question.
Does anybody else have it on B? I just had one thing on B. I just want to thank the company. They're going to give 3% of their sales to events and fundraisers in Goodyear. And I know a number of our companies do that, and I think we should start recognizing those that do it. So I thank them for that.
And the food's really good.
And the food's good, yes. And so was there just a question, Councilman Stefan? So how about taking care of the question?
All right, item C, which is the patio extension. In all of the information that we received, there's, and I realize that this is more procedural, but it's kind of a generic question that goes back to maybe when it was temporarily approved. But do we don't have a site plan or anything that shows where this patio is located in reference to the neighborhood. And I just want to make sure that we haven't had any neighborhood complaints or anything about the patio. I'm seeing the outside patio for smoking, drinking, and board games, which...
And what difference is that from all the other restaurants that are doing it?
Nothing, but if this is right up against, I believe the Moose Lodge has its backdoor neighbor is a housing development.
The
Do we have
applicant is
someone-
here if you
Could we have
would like-
someone address that and then not have to pull it if it's if it's
I don't want
satisfactory to
to
you.
pull it, I'm just more curious
Yeah,
about
the
that.
applicant's
The applicant
here.
The
is over
applicant,
there.
would you come up, please? Do you mind? Just announce your name, please, and your address.
John Fournier, Avondale Moose Lodge administrator. That back patio is about 185 feet from the fence.
Okay. Therefore, there's probably been no issues with the neighbors.
Yeah, and we've got plans of building a new building back there when 303 comes through there. So
Okay.
Any other question while he's up? Thank you so much for taking
Yeah,
the time.
thank you. And I apologize for not getting that
No,
question answered before.
No, not a problem. And so F, was that another
F was
one?
my other question. And I'm going to guess this is probably going to go to the city manager. This is the contract for what paving?
Councilmember Stipp, Mayor Lord, and council members. This is a payment to Cutlery Paving Incorporated, and they completed a hot in-place recycling paving work all the way up Estrella from the river or down at the bottom of the hill up through the Cotton Lane roundabout to Elliott Road. They did a great job.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Any other questions? None?
Just-
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Just a quick follow-up, the budget amount versus the actual,
I believe the budget amount was roughly 1.6 million, and the actual was 1.2 million.
so it came in 400,000 under budget?
Yes.
All set with the questions?
Madam Mayor, it was 1.2 million
Okay.
compared to 1 million, as stated in the agenda. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting my paperwork ready here. I got it all mixed up here. Okay, any other questions? Okay, could I ask for a motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I move that
I'm sorry, for items, I'm sorry, for item A through,
I got it.
okay, go.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve consent agenda items A through D and item F, please.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Gelser and a second by Councilman Bazzillo. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano,
Aye.
Councilmember Gelser,
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Now we'll go on to the business. Item A.
No, item F.
Oh,
E, I'm sorry, the Gus, yeah, that was.
sorry about that.
Thank you.
I am all mixed up tonight. Just a moment. 2, 5, 3, 4. There we go. Joe, you want to show me because my paper is
Want a presentation, or
No,
you just want
I would like to,
presentation from the city clerk. Okay.
questions?
I have a
Councilmember
question.
Gelser?
Could you explain the different recommended types of votes that the council could make on this item? And then I'm going to ask if the applicant is present, if they would want to come up and talk to us, we'd be happy to listen.
The State Department of Liquor License and Control offers the city 3 types of recommendations. You can vote in favor of it, you can deny it, or you can vote a no recommendation, which means that it automatically goes to the state for a public hearing. And the staff is recommending no recommendation because there's insufficient information at this time to recommend either a denial or approval.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is the applicant present, and would they like to come up and make a statement?
Good evening. My name is Naveen, and I am owner of Gus's New York Pizza. I provided every documentation that the detective needed. I went to him today. No, he didn't mention anything to me with no recommendation. And I was shocked that I came and heard no recommendation. I mean, we've been in contact for the past like 2 weeks. I went to him today, turned in all the documentation that he needed, and I came to the meeting thinking that everything was going to be okay, but I don't know what the no recommendation is, so.
Is there a specific incident that they are asking about that you want to tell us about, or?
No, they're just asking for bills of the restaurant, stuff that we put in there, expenses, basically just normal stuff. And he didn't say no, he didn't say everything was okay, I thought. So I came to the meeting thinking that everything was okay, but I don't know what this no recommendation is.
What no recommendation means is we will forward this to the State Liquor Board, and then you will have to have a public hearing.
Okay.
And whatever the results of the investigation will be presented in public.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
So I need an motion for it. Yes.
On this particular issue, I'm certainly not going to suggest we do something contrary to what staff is recommending. But I do want to, Naveen and her family have owned a business, Gus's New York Pizza, for more than 40 years in 3 different communities in our valley, and I'm concerned that we're not able to get the information that we needed to make a decision tonight. We have to make this business jump through another set of hoops to get their liquor license. And I know we try to do everything we can to support any of the local businesses that come before us. So I'm disappointed, and I realize that there's always extenuating circumstances, and obviously if the information is incomplete from the PD investigation, I don't want to say there's more to it, but it obviously takes time to get that stuff done. So, I don't want, hopefully this won't become a pattern that we've got delays and for whatever circumstance they are, but, I for one, even though spent a little time in Boston, sorry, but I am looking forward to Gus's coming into the community, and hopefully they'll be successful at the state.
Yes, Councilman.
I would like to know if they got the information today, how long it would take to finish up the investigation, and is this something we can continue till the next meeting, or do we have to have something today per the State Liquor Board?
I think you want to pass it, don't you?
I think it has to be. That's why we're at this point.
I'm good.
We've already passed the deadline, and we pulled this from the January 9th meeting, and because the investigation wasn't done. Unfortunately, investigator Gardner, could not be here tonight, but the police chief is aware of the case. Postponing it doesn't matter at this point. It's going to go to the state for a public hearing anyway.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Can I hear a motion, please, and a second?
I move that we send a no recommendation to the State Board of Licensing and Control for Gus's Series 12 liquor license.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
First by Councilman Gelser and a second by Councilman, I'm really having a hard time tonight, aren't I?
Osborne.
It's Osborne, yes. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Loretano.
Aye.
Councilmember Gelser.
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne.
Aye.
Councilmember Pasillo.
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for all helping me get through this. Let's go on to the business. The first business item, it just considers the appointment of members of the Fire Safety Building Code Enforcement Board of Appeals. Ed Kulik will present.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Recently, the Council Subcommittee held interviews to appoint new members to the Fire Safety Board of Appeals. I'd like to introduce 4 of the members that we currently have. We still are currently looking for additional members, which we have an advertisement out for. I have Mr. Harold Julian, Bob Oswald, Kelly Reynolds, and Peter Lamphere.
Would you please all stand? I just want to give you applause for being on the board.
And sorry, one more snuck in on me, Ron Timothy.
Great,
Also
thank you very
second.
much. And also on the board, Lynn Mulhall was the qualified.
Lynn
clerk.
Mulhall is going to be the recording
Okay.
secretary for the board.
Okay, great. So do you want them to come forward?
Why don't you approve the appointments first?
Okay, you don't want to do okay.
I'll wait till I make sure.
All
you
right,
are
so
going.
could I hear a motion to approve these appointments?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Stiff and Councilman Loretano as a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So now the oath of loyalty will be taken. Thank you.
Mayor, while we're transitioning in this, Ed, can you explain for everybody why we're still waiting for additional appointments to that?
In the building code, it has specific recommendations on. Excuse me, sorry about that. You have to have certain disciplines: architects, fire protection engineer, structural engineer, mechanical engineer, and fire protection. And we still have two outstanding positions for either a superintendent or a structural engineer or an architect. So we're still looking for citizens to fill those positions.
And the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties as a member of the Fire Building Code according to the best of my ability, so I do.
That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be available for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll let Councilman Pizzillo go first, but I would like to make a comment afterwards.
Look at this. Appreciate you all stepping up and serving your community, and welcome aboard.
I was on the selection committee, and I want to say this, and I've served on several selection committees in the last couple of weeks, and this was one of the most interesting boards that I got to interview, and it was really pretty interesting to have really smart people and people who have national stature that I was able to talk with. So I think we have some excellent people that are going to be serving on this board, and we're looking forward to filling it with the remaining two qualified people.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Stipp.
Along with Councilmember Campbell, we served on that committee, and it is a great pleasure to have the caliber of people we have on this committee. It's almost a shame that we will probably not put them to use very often. Our building code official, Ed Kulik. Ed, I think you're sitting behind the post. I can't see you. There you are. Yeah. Ed's been in with the city about 10 years, and we have had one fire code board appeals hearing because of the work that Ed has been doing, and I think that's definitely worth acknowledging as well in this whole process. So I just want to give my hats off to Ed and welcome the beginning of this great board that we have.
Vice Mayor Osborne is going to take over the meeting.
Give us just a moment, please. Thank you. The mayor is just wanting to take a couple minutes. She's not feeling very well, so I'll probably finish out this evening and give us just about 2 minutes. Thank you.
Can I suggest a 5-minute recess? Is that appropriate? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Vice Mayor, may I suggest a 5-minute recess?
Okay, 5 minutes. Thank you. To open the application for a new Class B bingo license submitted by Buckeye Rotary Club and location change for the Goodyear White Tanks Rotary Club bingo license. We will now conduct a public hearing to consider it. I will open up this public hearing.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I got a question I want to ask of the attorney. I'm a member of the White Tanks Rotary Club, and is there any conflict of interest for me participating in this discussion?
Councilman Brazil, state law governs conflicts of interest in Arizona, and basically it states that if you or a family member have an interest in an item that comes before your governing board and you have called a pecuniary gain, basically if you have a financial interest directly to you personally, then you're required to recuse yourself from that matter. But if you are not going to directly receive any financial gain from this action, then no, you would not have a conflict of interest under state law.
Oh.
Further, under our charter, unless you have a conflict of interest, you're required to participate.
Okay, thank you. I have no financial interest in this, so thank you.
Okay, Lynn Mulhall will give our staff presentation.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Osborne, council members. We have received a request from the White Tanks Rotary Club for a location change. Last July, you approved their original liquor license. They were ready to move forward, but after it was approved, the applicants were having problems with the other tenants in the location that they had selected. There were parking issues that could not get resolved, and so they hunted for a new location, found one over on the northeast corner of Litchfield and Van Buren in the old Blockbuster store, and they've met with all the owners, and they have the support they need to move forward. They have met with the church because there was concern on the hours, and they changed their hours so that it wouldn't impact the church in any negative way. A bingo license is good for 5 games a week, and since they have this location, they decided to find another bingo club that would be interested in sharing the facility with them. The Buckeye Rotary Club showed an interest, and they got together, and that's why you have a location change for the White Tanks Rotary and then a brand new bingo license for the Buckeye Rotary. They are going to share the building. Each club will have 5 sessions, and they're going to have a group that is comprised of both clubs to give that money to charity. Both the applicants are here to answer any questions that you have. The location change just requires a yes/no vote, but the state does require a roll call vote for the bingo license application that was submitted by the Buckeye Rotary Club.
Okay, so we will have 2 separate items to take on this then?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And both applicants are here. They have filled out speaker cards.
Okay.
Gary does want to speak. Not Gary, not Councilmember Gilzer.
Gary McEachran?
Yes.
Okay. All righty, then we'll go ahead and have those. Are there any other public comment cards beyond those 2
No.
who wish to speak? Okay, then let's start with them.
Gary McEachran, 14748 West Pinchot Court in Goodyear. And I just wanted to get up and first off we've been working on this project for almost a year. It's changed a little bit. It's gotten better. We were over in Parkway Village on Estrella Parkway, and we did run into a couple issues over there where there was a parking situation. We thought we could kind of get by with it, and some of the tenants were in favor, but some of them weren't. Well, this other one came up, and as I say, I just wanted to and I know that the staff has been in support of this, and you had already passed this once before. The Hollywood Video building, I call it the Hollywood Video. The landlord has been great. We had met with all the tenants. We started with Palm Valley Church, and we worked our way around all the tenants there, and they all are fully supported because, as I say, we raise the money, we give all the money away. That's truly what Rotary is about. And when Buckeye heard about this, that we needed someone else as a partner, we went out to Buckeye, and they've supported us 100%. So that's where we are today, and the model truly is an amazing model. There's only one other one that we know of in Rotary. It happens to be up in Washington State, and this is their 20th year. They've operated this particular model, and it's earned almost $10 million for the nonprofit. So I'm excited for Goodyear and Buckeye. We're all getting older, and it's harder to raise money, and this is going to be a way that we can do it more passively and fun, and give it back to our community. So that's it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
The other speaker, would they like to speak?
My name is Vince Evans, and my address is 14941 West Piccadilly Road, Goodyear. There isn't much left to say after what Gary said. The whole idea of this situation was to raise money to go back to the community. The state statutes require that we give all of our net profits back to the community, and you'll see that happen sometime this year once we get going. It is really a legacy project. We intend to keep this thing going for years and years, and we intend to give back to the community millions of dollars in sometimes large projects, sometimes small projects. So we really appreciate your help in this and your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll close the public hearing and ask council if they have any questions. Mr. Pizzello?
Well, first question of staff, you may or may not know that. Is there any financial accountability that has to be submitted to the state on a quarterly or semi-annually building basis? Do you know of? Maybe Vince may know the answer to that then.
Why do we care?
Actually, we have asked for a Class B license, and a Class B license allows us to make $340-some thousand. But we intend to go way beyond that, and we will become a Class C license probably in the next 6 months. And as a Class C license, we have to submit a form to the state every month. Class B license submits a form to the state every quarter.
Okay.
So we have forms that we have to fill out daily, actually. Actually, for each session, we have to fill out a form. And then that's all summarized once a month and sent off to the state.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and stick here, Vince. I don't know if it'll be you or Gary. Can you briefly go over from Rotary some of the main, I guess, areas that we've donated or Rotary has donated over the years, causes? Can you talk about a few of those things that Rotary does?
Well, we have really two different ways we give away in Rotary. There's Rotary International that gives money worldwide. You're probably aware of the Bill Gates situation. Rotary International has eradicated polio. There's only polio left in 2 countries in the world. They just cleared India. India's been 2 years or so without a case of polio. And then locally, we also give money locally. We have about 30 nonprofits that we contribute money to locally, just the Goodyear White Tanks Rotary Club. Buckeye is about the same. After we combine and we start to give money away, we will have 50 to 60 different local nonprofits that we will give money to.
Just a quick, I know you don't think of all of them off the top. Can you just give a quick summary of some of the projects the club's had, say, over the last couple of years?
Well, one big, large one is the homeless youth.
Right.
You know, we had a golf tournament last year. Half of the funds went to the homeless youth, around $10,000 just from that. We give away to the battered women's shelter and just about everybody that comes and knocks on our door gets on our list. It's something. And it's very difficult to turn people away or not give them very much money. And that's why last year we were going over how we could raise better money. And someone says, well, there's this Rotary Club up in Washington that gives away hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And so that's what started this whole thing.
Just one last question. You're partnering with what Buckeye, is my understanding. So when you file those quarterly reports right now, is that a 50-50 split between the two clubs, or how is that going to be broken down, or is it just going to be one entity that's submitting that and then it will be broken down, or that committee of the two together will decide where that money's going? How's that mechanics, that stuff going to work?
The state requires that every licensee have their own bank accounts and their own reporting system. Okay. And so actually we will be filing 2 of those to the state each month when we become Class Cs. One will be Goodyear White Tanks, one will be Buckeye. It is very important that we keep those completely separate. That's what the state requires.
Thank you, Vince.
Okay.
Any other questions, Bill?
Will you be, and I'm going to say this, use this term loosely, serving food, drink, alcohol, anything like that there?
No, we won't have any alcohol. We will have vending machines.
Okay.
For food. The only other thing that we have talked about doing is having someone come in that's a local business, like a Shotsky's right down there, and having them come in with a cart and walk around during bingo and sell their wares, completely separate from us. You know, we want to do as much as we can for the local businesses in the area.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I just had one question. Will there be a community application process for the community people that would like to receive your charitable funding? How will you figure out who gets what and where you're putting your money towards?
Well, we have nonprofits. They have to make their applications to both Rotary clubs. Okay, that's where we get the names and stuff. And then we have what we're doing. One of the things that we will do is have a working agreement between the 2 Rotary clubs. Each Rotary club will have members that go on to a committee that decides what to do with the money. Even though Goodyear White Tanks has their money and Buckeye has their money, we feel that if this group works together and they were able to combine their pool of money, we can do a better job of serving the community.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? Okay, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve the request from Vince Evans and Gary McEachran for the applicants of the bingo license number 07-060-B.
So moved.
A second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Gelzer and a second by Councilmember Loretano. Is this a roll call?
The first one, no,
Discussion.
it's just a yes and no.
Okay. Discussion? Mr. Stick?
I voted no on this the very first time it came before us. It had a great deal to do with the location and the parking concerns, etc. Having done that over the phone, it was very difficult to try to express my appreciation for what the Rotary does, and I'm in support of the bingo parlor here and its new location. I wasn't sure in July if bingo was necessarily what we wanted to be known for, but I think a few months later and a little wiser, you take a look at it and you say, we are good. It is good for our community that we have such an organization that's willing to give back. And for that, I want to support them.
Thank you. Any other? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. And next, do I have to open
You need
this?
a motion for...
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for the Buckeye Rotary Club for a new Class B bingo license located at the Palm Valley Crossings in Goodyear, Arizona.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Mr. Stipp. All in favor?
Roll
Oh,
call.
no, this is a roll call.
Oh, this says all in favor.
Councilmember Gelzer,
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to, bear with me here. I'm trying to figure out everything that we've got going on. Yes, Lynn, you did have a second page. Okay. So, item C, we will now consider adopting resolution 12-1471 for an amendment to the 2010 through 2015 five-year consolidated plan authorizing the submittal of the amendment to Maricopa County. Katie Wilkin will present.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and members of the council. I know we've been discussing CDBG a lot over the last couple months, but for the benefit of the public, quickly, the CDBG program is the Community Development Block Grant Program, and that, along with the Home Investment Partnership Program, are federally funded programs that are meant to assist low to moderate income families. Goodyear participates in this program through the Maricopa County Urban County Program. In order to participate, all communities must have a 5-year consolidated plan. Since we're part of the county program, our plan is part of the county plan. We are allowed to amend the plan once a year, and this is that time of year. Any project that we may want to use home or CDBG funds has to be listed in the consolidated plan. And as you may remember from some of our conversations over the last 2 months, there's been a push nationally to use CDBG funds more and more for economic development and job creation type projects. So staff is proposing adding 2 new projects to the plan that are economic development related. One being a business incubator project and the other being a revolving loan fund to assist businesses with possibly a variety of items such as improvements or expansion. Also, staff is proposing adding senior services as an item. We don't have specific programs in mind, but again, if the opportunity presents itself, it needs to be in the plan to go forward. We are also proposing adding 1 home-funded project, and that is acquisition rehab of for sale housing. And this type of program would be where you purchase a home, possibly a previously foreclosed home, rehab it, then sell it below market rate to qualifying families. And that, again, the city doesn't necessarily have plans to move forward with this type of program, but there are many organizations out there like Habitat for Humanity or Foundation for Senior Living who do these types of things. And if they did want to do this in Goodyear, they can only do it if the project is listed on a consolidated plan, so we want to leave that option open. So those are the 4 projects that staff is proposing, including adding to the consolidated plan, and that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Katie. Are there any speaker cards?
No.
Okay. Would anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? All righty. Let's see. City Clerk, could you read the resolution, please, by title only?
Adopt Resolution 12-1471, approving an amendment to the City of Goodyear strategic objectives for 2010 to 2015, authorizing the submittal of the amendment to Maricopa County and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Stipp and a second from Councilmember Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Mr. Stipp?
As the alternate to CDBG, I had the opportunity to kind of hear some of the internal dialogue that's been going on regarding these subjects, and I know that the work that Joe and Katie have put into this, particularly Katie, it is these are great opportunities for us, and I'm excited that we're going to include them in our plan and keep moving the city forward. And I appreciate your hard work.
Thank you. Mr. Gelder?
Katie, could you, I know we have to apply for projects, and I know we're in the, I think you brought some projects that we've applied for this year. With diminished funding, what are our, I mean, we've gotten some very significant grants in the past, over the last 10 to 15 years. What are your thoughts on if we're going to get anything this year or next year?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Chairman Gelzer. The CDBG process was actually suspended, and so we haven't officially submitted CDBG grant application. The one you saw before you was SCTAP, Small Cities Transportation Assistance Program, which goes through the same committee, but it's a funding source through the Maricopa County Department of Transportation. So, but however, we have heard that with the new census data being incorporated into the formula, the county's allocation has increased. I believe it increased by $300,000, but I don't know the exact figure. So we actually received some really good news that our allocation is going to, for the county, is going to be slightly larger than last year, and so it's much larger than we thought when we thought they were going to possibly cut it drastically. So we received some good news. So we are hopeful that the process will be similar to previous years. It's still very competitive. There's still a lot of cities that have projects in need, so it's hard to predict, but it's looking more positive.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no other questions? Mr. Pizzolo?
No, I'm good.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzolo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Gilzer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, we're coming to the end. Does the council have any items they would like to comment on, or commendations, reports of current events? Mr. Pizzolo?
Just real quick, I was asked to kind of comment on AMWA. It's a committee that I'm on, kind of stands for Arizona Municipal Water Users Association. And the main goal of that is we have various municipalities on that group, including Phoenix is the big city, most of the east side cities, and Goodyear, Avondale. And our goal is to advance effective water policy, both wet and paper. And we also take a look at a lot of the legislative issues that are going on right now. In fact, the one where they've passed that fee on from the state board, and which we've seen on our latest legislative action right now, where we would prefer to see it being paid by, at least as far as the general fund. There's several bills in there to try to get that back onto the general fund, but I'm not sure we got the governor's support. But anyway, we do a lot when it comes to also landscaping, and we also do a lot when it comes to conservation, various conservation programs in there. So the group, again, is to try to promote water policy in the utmost. And in fact, Councilmember Gelzer attends almost all those meetings with me as well. So they kind of give you an overview of what we've been doing this past week. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Bill?
As the Historic Goodyear Neighborhood Association rep, we had a meeting last week, and as I think it was we expected, the Neighborhood Alliance was extremely pleased with the work that the city staff had done on getting a right-of-way cleaned up that has been accumulating debris and whatnot, and been working with with Mr. Fischbach and the rest of the staff to try to get that done. I wanted to convey they were very, very happy, as we kind of expected, but it was important to note. The other thing is for the future, and I know we've talked about it, but on that note, we should be looking hopefully at some long-term solutions to that. It's a right-of-way, so we've got some obviously property issues that surround that, but they were very happy, and it was a good meeting.
Very good. Sherry?
I just wanted to let people know that to either go to, I think it's on the city's website, the information for the 303 meeting, or there'll be another meeting on the 28th up at the Safeway. I assume it's going to be outside is what it sounded like at 9 a.m.
I assume so, yes.
Yeah, for the 303 proposed 303 route. And then there's a meeting for up in Estrella. There's some issues about a cell tower going up there. If you're interested in that, there's going to be a meeting Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Star Point as well. So if anyone's interested in where some of the cell towers are going to go, they need to come there. There's one specific that the city has been working on, trying to co-locate on our power lines rather than building it right off the border of Goodyear.
Very good.
The
Gary?
meeting is at 10, by the way.
10? Sorry.
10 o'clock at the marketplace.
No. Just had a couple. I did attend last week. We're coming to close to the end of the centennial meetings that I've been attending for the states, and yay, in about a month. If you would like to volunteer for our state's two biggest events coming up on Statehood Day, February 14th, we are in need of volunteers. Also for the Best Fest, the weekend before, I think it's the 11th and 12th of February. Huge events going on downtown for celebrating our state's 100th birthday. We could use some volunteers. And also, I think almost every one of us attended the faith-based roundtable, and great discussions, some good ideas going on out there to feed hungry children and things like that. And very proud of that group. They're doing really coming together and having some great discussions. And today I had a MAG meeting for continuing care and homelessness. We are beginning to outline goals for the new year. And that's pretty much it. The city manager have anything to report?
Not this evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay, then I guess, yes, sir.
I'm never sure of the order, but I do. Yesterday, we all heard that Gabby Giffords is resigning her seat, which kind of reminded me of why she has to resign in the first place. Not that we have a lot to worry about at a city council level. However, if we are not prudent and just, we may end up in a similar condition. Is there anything we can do about perhaps a security, either briefing or plan or something for council, that if the worst were to happen, we would at least know what to expect from the folks that are here? I'm not sure who to direct that to.
We'll be happy to put together such a briefing, Madam Mayor, Mr. Stiff.
Thank you.
Well, and actually, when Ms. Giffords, that weekend that entire scenario took place, that following Monday is when we had to begin, not only because of this situation, heightened thoughts of protection, but there was also a gentleman at large that had been threatening the continuum of care, which I was on at that time, and wanted to kill everyone on the committee. And so, it is something that we don't like to think about or talk about, but I appreciate your thoughts about that. Okay, any council member, any other directed to staff? Yes, Mr. Gelser.
I have one. This is for the city manager. There have been some recent articles in both the West Valley View and the Southwest Republic concerning Avondale and their decrease, or their they changed their deposits for water services, and as a result of that, their delinquent accounts have been drastically reduced. So Councilman Deadbeat would appreciate having a report in not the immediate future, but sometime before, the late spring, so that we can hear how our program is going. And I have an article that I want to pass to you that gives you the information.
Thank you, Councilman Gelser. We'll get that for you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Councilman